Hi everyone. Now we will understand the orbital contribution of electrons towards the magnetic property. This can be understood from the T2G, e.g. electron distribution. Some terminologies that we have to be familiar are given here. The first one is diamagnetism, where there is there is presence of no unpaired electrons, whereas in the paramagnetic material there will be presence of unpaired electrons. The spin and the orbital motion of the electrons contribute to their magnetic moments. Magnetic moment is usually expressed in Bohr magneton. Mu of S plus L magnetic moment, mu of S plus L is equal to square root of 4 into S into S plus 1 plus L into L plus 1, where S is the total spin and total spin of the electron, and the capital L is the total angular momentum of the electron. If the orbital contribution is quenched, that means if L becomes 0 or when it is very low, as in the case of 3D elements, then we will be using only the spin only formula. The spin only formula is given as root of 4 into S plus 1. Taking the 4 out, we get it as 2 into S into square root of S into S plus 1. Now, if S is equal to N by 2, that is the total spin can be given as number of unpaired electrons given by divided by 2, then the spin only formula will become root of N into N plus 2. This is expressed in Bohr magnetons, where N is the number of unpaired electrons. Now, when we calculate the number spin only for magnetic moment for the unpaired electrons, we will be getting the values like this. Now we can see that the characteristic number in the magnetic moment value is equal to the number of unpaired electrons. And also we have to observe that on the decimal side, all the numbers are greater than 5. So this is very useful because we will be applying this in the problems. We will try to understand the orbital contribution of the magnetic moment. When it is possible to transform an orbital into equivalent degenerate orbital, which has a vacancy of an electron of the spin concerned, then orbital angular momentum arises. A little bit confusing, right? We will try to understand this with an example. We have the T2G set here. T2G set consists of dxy, dyz, and dxz. All these three are degenerate orbitals. They can be interconverted by rotation through 90 degrees because all the three orbitals have the same shape. So they are degenerate, and if there is a vacancy, then these orbitals can be transformed into another one orbital can be transformed into another orbital by a rotation through 90 degrees. So now how we are going to understand this? Before, what is this as a vacancy for an electron of the spin concerned? This we will see it in the next slide. Before that we will see what happens to EG orbital. EG orbital have different shapes, dx square minus y square and dz square. So they cannot be interconverted. So what do we understand from this slide? So here we understand that the orbital contribution of the magnetic moment comes only from the T2G orbital and not from the EG orbital. Now here we are going to see how the T2G orbital is going to contribute towards the total angular momentum. Orbital contribution is significant when T2G orbital is asymmetrically filled. Why? Because in the previous slide we have seen that where the T2G orbital can be interconverted, and only when there is a vacancy for an electron of the spin concerned. This is possible only when it is asymmetrically filled. For example, we will take T2G1. T2G1, let me say dxy is occupied, whereas dyz and dxz are vacant. So this can be interconverted to dxz or dyz because those two orbitals are vacant. So that means there is going to be a orbital contribution when T2G is asymmetrically filled. When T2G2 is there, then two orbitals are singly filled and third orbital is unoccupied or vacant. So again there is interconversion is possible. Now when T2G3, now all three orbitals in T2G set are singly occupied. So which means that the electrons or the orbitals cannot be interconverted because all the three orbitals are filled with the electrons of same spin. So that is what is referred in the previous slide also. The orbital contribution is nil, or we say that the orbital angular momentum is quenched when T2G is symmetrically filled. So this is what is T2G3 or T2G6 refers to. In these two cases, there is no interconversion of T2G orbitals possible. When there is no interconversion, then there is no orbital contribution. When there is no orbital contribution, we call that state as quenching of orbital angular momentum. So orbital contribution will be there when T2G is unsymmetrical, and we are seeing the weak field or high spin case because in the low spin case already the spin is quenched or the magnetic moment value is low. Here we are taking up the high spin case, and so we are considering only the weak field octahedral case. A similar exercise can be done for the tetrahedral case also. So here T2G1 and T2G2 will contribute towards the orbital total angular momentum, and T2G4 and 5, as in the case of D6 and D7, will also have orbital contribution. When T2G is symmetrically filled as T2G3 or T2G6, as in the all other configuration, for example D3, D4, D5 and D8, D9, D10. In all these six configurations, in the high spin state, there is no contribution from the orbital angular momentum. We say that orbital angular momentum is quenched in all these six cases. Now when there is going to be a orbital angular momentum, how the total angular momentum is going to be calculated? This is given as mu effective, which is equal to mu s into, that is spin only formula, that is the angular magnetic moment calculated using the spin only formula, uh, into 1 minus alpha into lambda divided by delta. Lambda is a constant which depends on the spectroscopic ground state of a particular D configuration. When the D configuration is 5, then the the alpha value is equal to 0. These are when the D configuration is D1, D4, D6 and D9, then the alpha value is equal to 2. Now you will study in the electronic spectroscopy of the complexes that these four different D electronic configuration will have D as their ground state. Similarly, D2, D3, D7 and D8, which have F as their ground state, will have the alpha value of 4. The next one is the delta value. Delta is the ligand field strength or the splitting energy. This we know either delta naught or delta T. Then what is lambda? Lambda is the spin orbit coupling constant. This constant is going to be positive for any configuration of less than half filled, that is D1 to D4. When this is positive, then this is going to be negative. If this is negative, then the mu observed or the effective magnetic moment will less than that is calculated from the spin only formula. Then the next one is when lambda value is negative. When lambda value is negative, when the d orbital is more than half filled, that is d6 to d9. So when this is going to be negative, this whole term becomes positive. So the mu observed or the mu effective will be greater than the spin only formula. Even though the problems based on such formula had not occurred so far in the competitive exams, it will be very useful when a value is given, when the value calculated from the spin only formula is less or more, we can understand whether it is a half filled configuration or it is more less than half filled configuration or it is a more than half filled configuration. We will work out the problems and further understand the orbital contribution. Thank you. Let us do some problems regarding the magnetic properties here. The first one is, which of the following complexes has the highest number of unpaired electrons? So first of all, we have to remember what is given in the question. The question is number of unpaired electrons we have to calculate, and which has the more number of unpaired electrons. So now observe what are the complexes that are given. There are two tetrahedral complexes and two octahedral complexes are given. So now we have to work out the T2G EG, or T2 electron distribution here, and T2G EG electron distribution here. And we know that the tetrahedral complexes are high spin. This is a high spin complex, whereas this is a low spin complex. So now we have to write down the electronic configuration of all these things. Here iron is in 3 plus oxidation state, that means it is high spin D5. In tetrahedral it is T2, E2 and T2 3. So the number of unpaired electrons is 5. And for the vanadium complex, it is D1, because vanadium is in plus 4 oxidation state here. So it is D1 and T2G1. So number of unpaired electron is 1. And cobalt here is in 2 plus oxidation state. This is in tetrahedral. So it is high spin D7. So it is E4, T2 3, and the number of unpaired electron is equal to 3. And cobalt ammonia complex, where cobalt is in 3 plus oxidation state, is a low spin complex, and the electronic configuration is D6. So it is T2G6, where there is no unpaired electrons, or the electrons are paired. So here we observe that the highest number of unpaired electrons is present in the first one. So the answer is A. The next one is the magnetic moment of an octahedral cobalt 2 complex is 4 Bohr magneton. The electronic configuration of the complex is. So immediately after seeing the 4 Bohr magneton, we will think that the number of unpaired electron is 4. This is an octahedral CO2 plus complex and 4 Bohr magneton. Now we think that it is n value should be equal to 4, but that is not true. This is what we have said, that when you calculate the spin only formula, we have seen that in the decimal part, the numbers will be more than 5. It will be 0 0.7, 0 0.8, 0 0.9, like that. So that means this 4, after that it is only 0. So this must be equal to 3 point something. So that means the number of unpaired electron is going to be 3. So that is what we have to find from these electronic configurations. So once you read the problem, you have to settle on what you have to look into the options. So after reading the problem, you please wait and then find out what are we going to do with the problem. Then look for whether we have to go for the options or not. So now we have to, the first step in the solution is, since the mu value is 4, the number of unpaired electron is 3. So this is the first step in the problem. Then we have to work out the number of unpaired electrons in each case. So in the first case, the number of unpaired electrons is 3. The second case, it is 1. And in the third case, again it is 3. And in the fourth case, it is 1. Now there are two cases. Then how can I arrive at the answer? Now the C configuration is not at all possible, because T2G3 EG4 is possible only in the, maybe in the excited state, right? So we have to leave that option here, and so we have to go with the option A. So the answer is A. The next one is the expected spin only magnetic moments for the iron cyano complex and iron fluoro complex respectively are given here, right? So again, I'm not going to look into the option first. Now I'm just going to look into what is given in the question. The one given in the question is spin only magnetic moment. So that means mu s only is calculated. For what? For the iron cyano complex. Now iron is in 2 plus oxidation state, and here iron is in 3 plus oxidation state. Okay, so now I'm going to work out the answer here. Now iron in 2 plus oxidation state is D6, and this is a low spin complex. So T2G6, so N is equal to 0. So here itself I can arrive at the two different answers. Either it could be C or D. So I have already told you we can eliminate the wrong options when we have the two, I mean more than one parameter or more than one compound in the problem. So here we have two different compounds in the problem. So I can go for the elimination option. So now I'm directly going to eliminate A and B. So the answer should be within C and D. Go for the next one. The next one is iron is in 3 plus oxidation state and it is a high spin complex. So it is T2G3 Eg2. So the number of unpaired electron is 5. So that means 5.92 will be the spin only magnetic moment for Fe3 plus configuration. So the answer is going to be D. So now why we have to, so answer is D. Now why we have to look into the problem first and then do this first. Don't look into the option, because this option, when you first read the option, our mind will be set with the options. So now on seeing this 1.73, right, we may mistakenly think that this complex is 1.73, because this is not 1.73, this is actually 0. When this will be 1.73? When this is going to be 3 minus. When this is 3 minus, iron will be in 3 plus oxidation state. So this will be D5 and T2G5 and number of unpaired electron will be 1. So the distractor is purposely given here, and that too especially this one will always lead to a wrong answer. So when two or more components are given, work out half of the problem and eliminate the two options or narrow down on the correct options. Then you work out the second half of the problem and find out what is the answer. The last one is that we are going to discuss here is there are 4 different complexes are given. So read the problem carefully first. Which two among these 4 complexes show the same spin only magnetic moment? So what are there in the question now? There are 4 different complexes given and they show only spin only magnetic moment. So that means I have to calculate only the number of unpaired electrons here. So if the spin only magnetic moment is same, then they will have the same number of unpaired electrons. So now among these 4, I have to find out what are the 2 complexes that have the same spin only, same number of unpaired electrons. So you please work out the formula. So if you go and do this here one by option, then every time you will be doing. Instead, you go to the question and then find out what is the number of unpaired electrons and mark it on the top. So Fe3 plus here, Fe3 plus means D5 low spin. So T2G5 number of unpaired electron is 1. F6 3 minus, again this is also D5 because in both the cases iron is in 3 plus oxidation state, but this is a low spin complex and this is a high spin complex. So in the first case the number of unpaired electron is 1 and in the second case number of unpaired electron is 5. The second one is a third one is a copper bipyridyl complex. Now copper is in 2 plus oxidation state. We need not have to bother whether it's a low spin or a high spin. And then the number of unpaired electron is 1 because it is D9. And the last complex that is given is manganese acetyl acetonate anion. This acetyl acetonate anion is a monovalent anion. That means it has -1 charge. So there are 3. It is a chelate ligand. It is a bidentate ligand but monovalent anion. So that means it will coordinate to 2 points but the charge is -1. So that means the coordination number is 6. But the charges for each acetyl acetonate ion -1. So there are 3. So Mn is in 3 plus oxidation state. So this is a strong ligand, strong field ligand. So the complex will be in its low spin state. So that means T2G4. So the number of unpaired electron is going to be 2, right? So here we can find out that the more number of the same number of unpaired electrons are present in 2 cases, in the first case and in the third case. So you look for the option which is correct. So that option is present in B. So better you approach the problem here, because in all other cases we may lead to a wrong answer. Thank you.